Adrian Nacole, it's good to see you. Thank you.
The Hernandez family are meeting Andrew today to make an offer on the home they saw last time.
Let's do it.
Come on in. Buying your first home is a momentous occasion many of us have dreamed about for as long as we can remember. Meet first-time homebuyers Adrian, Nacole, and their family of 4 as they move forward buying their first family home.
We want to have space where we can run and stretch our feet and spread our wings and fly.
You'll be with them every step of the way from their home buying game plan meeting. What makes you happy and excited when you visualize your home all the way to their closing day?
He's somewhere up there, proud of me, proud of him.
Watch their story unfold on Real Estate, The Untold Stories. It came back on the market, dude. We gotta get back out there. And I'm like, when are you available? My lunch break. Let me call Nacole and make sure she's good. And fortunately, we were able to do that and make that happen.
Yeah.
So what else are you experiencing as it pertains to the offer? Or is it just a mixed bag of nuts here with like anxiety, excitement, FOMO, essentially?
Yeah, I'm curious to know like what happened, what's going on with the house. Yeah.
I guess it makes me feel like with kind of who we experience, it's like, who are these buyers? Or like, or what, not necessarily who are these buyers, but what's the mindset of these buyers? Like, hopefully they want to actually sell the house. Like they're not just like, they're not just putting it up there for some like high price. Again, it's like, what's going on with the appraisal? But it's like, at first, let's see what's going on. I saw you got the CMA, everything all correct?
Of course. I have all your CMA and everything ready to go, and we'll go ahead and go on that in just a moment. So before we get into the offer and all the fun that is, tell me what you've been up to since the last time we met.
Just busy nonstop. We're
Working.
both exhausted but anxious. Like we want to be in a home before the holidays.
Right, most definitely. But it's like we're keeping an eye on everything. Like sometimes you want to take a breath and be like, okay, I'm not really going to think about things for like 20 minutes, but I don't know. It's
hard not to look.
It's hard not to look. We're constantly like refreshing email, refreshing what's going on with the properties. If there's, I don't know, I don't know. We're just anxious more than anything. But it seems like we that's what we've been doing, is constantly talking about how we want to get into a house before the holidays. That's like our hobby right now.
That's your hobby, that's your pastime, that's your consuming thought and passion. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, and I believe that we'll be able to make that happen. So that's the good news. So those are all great points and absolutely usual feelings whenever you're in the home buying mode. That goes back to the importance of the hashtag JTAB, which is just take a breath. And when you're talking about like the discomfort that you were feeling about the fear of the unknown,
right?
Fear is just that false evidence appearing real, and that's what we're going to get to the bottom of tonight. Speaking of that, in addition to the comparative market analysis that I performed on the property we want to write an offer on, I also called the agent. Now, the agent told me that she would be calling me back this evening. So hopefully sometime while we're actually here going over the offer, then she'll call me back and perhaps we can even negotiate it and find out what happens. I mean, it would be kind of a sweet ride to get it all done tonight, right?
Right.
You guys like get to be tied, like don't do this to us again, waiting for someone to tell us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But while we get into that, why don't we go into the actual offer process? So I printed out an offer. I did put in some details in here, and I want to review like the devil's in the details. I mean, the offer itself is 10 pages, and all 10 pages are critically important, though there are questions that come up all the time.
Okay.
As we progress with the offer, if you have some questions or if something comes to mind, please let me know, and we'll get to it. Before I begin, I will let you know that with the comparative market analysis, I did find that the property, it's listed at $425,000.
Mm-hmm.
I did find that it should sell between $410,000 and $425,000. But being that this property had fallen out of escrow at least a couple times that we know about, I wanted to know more from the listing agent about why that was, to see if it was a pricing issue, because it doesn't look too far off. So if it was like a difference of a few $1,000s, I want to make sure that we're dealing with reasonable people on the other side called sellers, that they're not like mandating a certain number and want a buyer to come out of pocket.
No, crazy sellers is one of our fears.
It's a thing, right? So obviously right here, we're going to have your name in here that you guys would be buying this property together. We want to start with the price. So I know we had some different conversations. The amount that you actually want to offer, I just need to know. But I put in here, like, from our conversations, like $415, just in case you wanted to play it out a little bit. but if we want to do something different, let me know. Like I said, the comparative market analysis would show a 410 to 425, so they're well within range. Then we would want to go into like the earnest money deposit itself, and they're asking for $4,000,
Okay, that's less than the previous one.
less than some of the other properties you've
Right.
seen out there.
Yeah.
And it's really important to note that whenever we're talking about the earnest money deposit, that you need to wire it to the escrow account within 2 business days of getting an accepted offer. So what that means is you need to be prepared to run over to the bank real quick, because the seller could back out on us if the money's not there.
Okay.
Okay. And then since you're using your VA loan, then you're just going to subtract the amount of the earnest money deposit by the amount being offered, and it's going to leave you with a sum total here, essentially, of what you'd be paying for the home. That would be different if it's like FHA, conventional, or any kind of other deal, cash, because then you'd have a balance due that of your down payment. But you don't have a down payment. Good
Yes.
you.
That's-
Yay. And
That's the
Nicole's like,
best.
thank you,
I know.
Adrian,
No.
for serving our country. Right? Some of the key contingencies in a contract
Okay.
have to do with the appraisal and the loan.
Right.
We want to make sure that the home appraises, because you can't get more home loan than the appraised value itself. So what we do here, at least in Las Vegas, Nevada, typically we're going to put in 21 days, more than enough time for the lender to get with you, assuming everything's good here with getting this offer accepted, to have that appraisal performed and get the results back.
Okay.
The loan contingency comes afterwards, which the underwriter is going to take a closer look at your entire file. They're going to give you what's called conditions, kind of preparing you a little bit for the actual process, so bear with me.
Okay.
And once they do those conditions, they're going to be waiting for this appraisal. Well, then they're going to take a look at everything, and they normally only need like 1 or 2 days to get back and say, hey, everything checks out, we're good. Let's go ahead and prepare to go into the last week of closing here.
Mhm.
But because there is a difference of time, that's why you see the 21 and 23. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, this is the fun one. Now, did this house have great-grandma Susie's chandelier or something? I mean, was there like a fork in the dishwasher or something that you just couldn't live without that you wanted with the house?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It had some good items still in there.
Right?
Yeah.
You wanna make
Oh,
sure
no,
that
definitely.
all the
For
window
sure.
coverings, the curtains and stuff come
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
great.
for real. Yeah, we liked
was
everything
great.
that was in there, that it kind of that it came with. It wasn't like we were
Less
gonna.
stress. Yeah. It was great.
Most definitely. Even like, I mean, the refrigerator looked in really good condition. The
Washer and
stove,
dryer.
the washer and dryer.
So that's where we write in here, and that's what, is pretty
Yeah.
normal. So I went ahead and say, hey, we can always make a change to it before we submit it.
Right.
But I wrote in like the refrigerator, the disposal, dishwasher, washer, dryer. Obviously, we want to make sure the curtains and stuff stay.
Right.
So if there's anything else that comes to mind, let me know. Going once, going twice. Sold to the gentleman in a flight suit. Well, sorry, flight jacket. Just giving a shout out to all our Marine Corps air wingers out there. So with that, then we go into who we're going to open up escrow with. Now that's really important, because that's where you're going to be making your earnest money deposit to. Now it will be the title officer or their assistant that reaches out to you directly with the wiring instructions. We'll cover more about that once we find out what happens here.
Okay.
All
But
right.
this is to give you the highlights of an offer to know more about what we're doing here, okay?
Alrighty.
Then the most important date. You're talking about the holidays, right?
Right.
So obviously we want to do this thing called close.
Yes.
Close and
Kind of
escrow.
important. Close, not
Right.
close pin, but close and escrow.
Close, right? Close, and then close and keys. They kind of are in the
Close
same.
and so
They should be in the same.
You mean you don't want the time of possession to be different? You don't want to do like a seller lease back and let them stay for a year?
I don't think we can do that
You
legally.
can't do that. No, it's a good point that you raised. I'm glad you know the answer to that. Yes, you need to take possession in 60 days of closing for a primary owner type loan, such as a VA. So that being said, I'm assuming you want to close. So we're going to be looking to close within 33 days of today.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Make it happen.
Make
Make
it
it happen.
sooner.
Let's
Just
talk
kidding.
let's
It's
talk
perfect.
deal, right?
It's perfect.
Then we want to talk about buyer's due diligence. This is extremely important. Your buyer's due diligence time means just that, your due diligence.
Right.
We need to make sure that this home is in the location that you want to be in. If you need any access to additional crime mapping sites or any school data, please let me know. I'm happy to send it over to you. If you ask me, Andrew, what's a good area? What's a good school? I cannot legally tell you that. That would be an ethical violation underneath the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics. So what I can do, though, is provide you with all the tools you could possibly ever dream of if I haven't already given you enough, right? But if something comes to mind, let me know. It's your time to do your due diligence and make sure that, in fact, it is the right home. It's the time for us to make our inspections, order the appraisal, do our repair negotiations, okay?
All right, so question of the day. The question of the day is, how do you prefer to review and make your offer? Option A, would you like to meet in person? Option B, would you like to have the conversation over the phone? Or option C, would you prefer to have a video conference call to review and make your offer? Tell us in the comments below.
So that takes us on to this one. Now, there are a lot of types of home inspections that you would potentially want or maybe not want, but there's a lot available to you. The one that we have already discussed is the general home inspection. Now, if a general home inspector said, hey, Adrian Nacole, you need to get a roof person out there to investigate this further, then that's probably what we ought to do, because the general home inspector will let us know that, but they're not going to have the specific licensing of like a roofing contractor. Now, since we are dealing with a VA loan and we are in the state of Nevada, the seller, you'll love this one, the seller needs to pay for what's called a termite inspection, just to make sure there's none of those critters eating away at the wood.
Okay.
Nice.
But that's not going to be something you pay for. The home inspection itself is a buyer cost, okay?
Very nice.
And then you do have a pool on this property. So if you want that inspected, then I'll just let the general home inspector know that as well. If he sees anything of significant issue, then he's going to let us know, hey, you might want to call in a specialized pool contractor to come in here, inspect this, certify it, do whatever needs to happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
The general home inspection is intense, but it will let us know what's going on. Okay?
Got it.
That takes us down to title, escrow, and appraisal fees. Now, obviously, you're going to have escrow fees, real property transfer tax, all these kind of fun things that you're now like, are these all those things that people always say are hidden costs to a contract? They're not so hidden if they're black and white, are they?
Right.
Right? So we're talking about it, of course. But yes, these are some of those things that people always think, well, what are all these fees? Well, you are buying a house, and there's a lot of fees associated with it. Now, with a VA loan, they have what's called Vanna. And I always like to kind of describe this like, think of Vanna as a Vanna White. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Wheel of Fortune.
Sometimes I get scared
Oh, yeah.
whenever I
No,
say
yeah.
that now. Like,
Yeah.
I might be dating myself, getting too old to be referencing Vanna White. So those are like VA non-allowable fees, one of which is an escrow fee. So we are written in here that the seller should be willing to pay this for you if they want to accept a VA offer, okay? The seller is customarily expected to pay what's called real property transfer tax, presently $5.10 per thousand in Clark County at this time, okay? Now, that's something that you want to keep in mind in 20 years or so. If you say, hey, Andrew, bring yourself over here and get this thing sold, then you'll be paying the transfer tax, okay, as a seller. The lender's title policy, that is all you. The appraisal is all you. And the owner's title policy that ensure that the title being transferred to you is free and clear, and it's also called insurable and marketable title. The seller's going to pay for that, okay? Then there's all these fun prorations down to the trash, the sewer. Any prorations necessary with the property will be made, and the title company will review that with you on what's called an estimated settlement statement and ultimately your settlement statement. Okay? Questions?
No, looks
Perfect.
good.
Lender and closing fees. This is our opportunity to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we want you to pay everything, and we want you to reduce your property value down to like $100,000, and even though it's listed at $425, right? No, it's not that time. we wouldn't even get it taken seriously. So when we're talking about the offer price and we're talking about the buyer closing costs, keep in mind that on average, buyer closing costs amount to roughly 2% to 4% of a sales price. So in the case of looking at that, it's easier to estimate a flat 3%. So for the sake of easy math, if we were going to do like $400,000 at 3%, that means you would need to be prepared for $12,000 of buyer closing costs. Does that make sense?
Right.
But if we wanted to ask the seller, we could ask them. But if we're going to ask them for a price reduction too, this is where in the art of negotiation, it could get a little tricky, because we got to take into account what makes the market tick, where tick is trends, indicators, and conditions. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the market's not exactly trending in such a way that we're going to be able to get away with both.
Market's going like this right now.
You and I both been watching it, trying to find this home, and I know you've gone through like at least 120 homes on my website.
And
And then you send me, Andrew, so we found one. I'm like, whew. How many did you look at? 120. When did you look at them? Oh, all night last night. We weren't sleeping.
No, well, it's like we
there's
we
only
know what's
one.
out there, right? It's like we know what's out there. We've seen what's out there, and we know what we want, and we know that when we see other like properties that we want, they're going like this. They're going like this.
Yeah.
So people out there are also they're out there looking for the same kind of the same kind of lines that we're looking too. So
It's
please
good that you
please guide
recognize
us through it.
Right. So, if you wanted to ask, this is where you'd ask: do you need the buyer closing cost, or are you capable of paying them?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I'd like to highlight right here, by the way, guess who pays the real estate commissions?
The seller. Oh, obviously.
Oh, you weren't paying me?
No, no, that's
Yeah,
what,
you saw that.
and that was one of the things too. I feel like I've like there's no downside to having a real estate as a buyer at all, because
Not one as a seller either, my friend. We'll cross that bridge when we
because
get
somebody's not one as a seller.
It all depends on making sure that you're Googling the agent, checking out their online ratings, the reviews, past sales performance to make sure that you have a top performing agent that can assist you. That's the key aspects of that.
Right, and then you're saying like those fees, the commission fees, they come from the buyer. I mean, from the seller.
Oh, I was gonna say. Okay. Tell me something new here. Do tell.
No, the commission fees come from the seller.
Yes,
like
the real estate commissions
real
are
estate
oftentimes paid by the seller.
Right.
And that encompasses the listing broker and buying broker. Okay. Does that make sense?
Right.
So that is one of the coolest things and truth about buying a home. You're not exactly paying for the services of a trusted real estate advisor to help you with all the experience and navigate you and be your guide through the process.
Right.
The seller is actually paying that. But that being said, those are seller closing costs, which generally amount to somewhere between 6 and 9% of a sales price. Your closing costs are called buyer closing costs, amount to 2 to 4%. On best case, you normally will just estimate 3% because we're not in an attorney state in Nevada. Now, if you're in an attorney state, that's where you could experience an additional bump of a percent. Just depends, right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay.
Questions?
Nope.
So then, are we going to ask the seller for anything?
No.
Okay, perfect. Now, the home protection plan. Now, you'd be like, what's a home protection plan? It's called a home warranty, right? You seen that commercial on television where like the Grim Reaper comes out and they're going at the lady and she's like, or goes for the refrigerator first and the lady's like, no, not my refrigerator.
What? The refrigerator? Oh, come on. Do you know how much this cost me?
That's a home warranty. It protects your refrigerator, your different components that you have within the home, like your HVAC system. If something went out, it would give you coverage and protection. Okay.
All right.
Now, you're not paying that the way that I've written this offer, by the way. That's the seller.
Cool.
Okay. Going into like HOA, it says CIC related expenses. CIC is just a fancy smancy acronym called Combined Interest Community, also known as an HOA to most people, homeowners association, right? In this case, anytime you sell a home inside of an HOA community, the seller and the buyer are going to have fees associated with that. In the case of the way we've written this offer, unless you tell me otherwise, we are asking for the seller, of course, to pay for the demand fee, the transfer the house into your name within the HOA. We're also asking the seller to pay the capital contribution fee. The capital contribution fee essentially will go to the reserves of the HOA to make sure that they have enough money on hand and keeps them financially solvent for the maintenance of the things the HOA covers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now the transfer fees, right? We're looking over here at a whole different matter altogether. Transfer fees, we're looking at how much does it cost to order these documents and then transfer them to you, okay?
Right.
So, we're asking the seller to pay us, unless you want to pay us.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. Whether you're here to learn something new or simply for entertainment, you're well on your way to becoming a very savvy home buyer. If you'd be so kind, could you do us a big favor, please? Drop us a comment and let us know how we're doing. It really means a lot to us to hear from you. All right, let's get back to Adrian Nacole.
Okay.
The disclosures. A very, very, very important cornerstone of real estate. Now, we will be asking the sellers or what's called a seller's real property disclosure form. If they have checked on this box here, I can't see it upside down, so bear with me here. But if they checked the box here on, I believe that's 1D on the seller's real property disclosure, called a construction defect claim, they need to let us know that. And they need to let us know what's going on with that, whether it was remediated, adjudicated, paid out, not paid out, what the case may be, okay? Now, you've gotten to know me a little bit throughout this process, right?
Right.
Do you think I might be interjecting even more terms into this contract?
Yes.
You're right. Down here in this little itty bitty scribblet, right, where it says other, if the word is if, right, the preposition if. If the seller has them, we would like their list of improvements, their builder documents if they have them from the time the home was constructed, and also a home maintenance log going into like a homeowner journal video I made on YouTube. But yes, if they have these documents, unfortunately not every seller maintains it, but hopefully by virtue of doing what we're doing here today and what I've been doing on YouTube for a while now, hopefully it inspires people to take more proactive stances, so it makes this process that much more transparent and easier, right? So if they have them, we're asking for it, okay? Now, walkthrough. Whenever you need to go through and make sure the house is in the same condition as what we just saw at the time that we wrote the offer, anywhere within the last 5 days, we like to put in a 5-day right to go in there, whether it's down to the last day or whether it's at the 5th day. The reason being is you guys have this thing called a schedule, and we need to coordinate all these different schedules to make sure it's at a time of convenience for you, okay? That brings us to the delivery of possession, where we were joking about, hey, you know, we're going to close on it December 6th and take possession on, we're going to close on it on whatever day, and then we're going to take possession of it with like 5 years in the future, right?
Right.
Yeah, no.
No, we're gonna take possession of it.
That's a part of the contract.
That same day.
That's part of these devils right here. And that's exactly what's been in there, saying, hey, we're taking possession on the date of COE, which is the close of escrow, okay? Questions?
No.
You look like you're attending university school, Nicole. Tell me how you really feel about a purchase agreement. So what I'm skipping over here, and it's just like I said, everything's important. These are instructions to the escrow company, instruction to the broker, other matters that we need to be aware of, definitions such as for you, all these different things that we gave you in our buyer consultation meeting in that 29-page guidebook called the Residential Disclosure Guide. They're again in this contract in their acronym form and spelled out form, okay? Of course, if you have any questions, you let me know. So these are essentially just all legalese and instructions at this point. Now, going back to making up terms. Did you write the seller a love letter?
No, you did.
Yes, I did. Because life gets busy, right? So
Right.
I get to know you. We've gotten to know each other, gotten to know your family.
Yeah.
I want them to know who you are, what
Right.
makes you different than every other buyer, and why they need to want
Right.
and absolutely desire to work with you. We
Right.
want them to love
Why
you.
do they want us to live in their
They
house?
want to give you the house, right?
Yeah.
They love you so much. Now that'd be kind of interesting, right? But all the same, that's where I use these additional terms in a contract. And that's what I've done here, where we're talking about your active duty service, your family, this being your first family home, your 2 young daughters being ideally located next to schools that you want them to go to, nearby shopping, nearby commute, all that fun stuff, right?
Got it.
So that's that. Number 2 is a massive pro tip that I've only talked about umpteen times on the YouTube channel, which is to always put your loan officer out there. Meaning that if the seller or the listing agent have any questions about your financial ability to pay this loan and actually being verified with your income, assets, credit, and employment, reach out to them. Contact info is right there. You're going to get a copy of the loan pre-approval. And when I email this to her, you're going to get a copy of it in the email. That's 3 times. But in the reason that I put it inside the offer is the offers need to be submitted to the actual end user, in this case, the seller.
Okay.
If they're all in the contract, 0 opportunity for any mistake.
Right.
Right? And if you were a seller and you saw this little bitty gibberish right here and it said additional, are you going to want to read that?
Oh yeah.
Just in case. Right? Additionally, you want what? I got an S-Class in the garage you want? No. But if they didn't read that and they said yes, right? Okay. And then this is just letting them know that we have different status codes in Las Vegas, Nevada, like UCNS, which is under contract no show, and UCS, which is under contract show. Kind of silly that way. I'm letting them know we don't want any showings in the house.
Of course. Why would we be under contract and them show them be showing people while we're under contract? I feel like that doesn't even make any
It
sense.
was a change
0%.
that was made recently, well, about a year ago.
Can you change it back?
I wish. And so those are powers that are much greater than I. It doesn't make any sense to me either. And I agree with you. You know, if I was buying a house and you wanted to keep showing it,
If you're under contract,
I'm about to back out because I don't like this
It
idea.
doesn't make any sense at all.
What happens if somebody else went in there and they elbowed the wall or kicked over the water heater?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
not saying that would happen, but you don't know. And when you're in the closing process, you're already starting to form that emotional attachment.
But it just doesn't make any sense. Like if you're already saying like you're offered, that means that someone's already offered and they've already accepted. Yet you're still like showing the house.
Yeah, it's not cool.
It doesn't make any
not
sense. Yeah.
And then lastly, we wanted to make sure that the seller responds to us ideally within 24 hours.
Tomorrow, but hopefully tonight.
Hopefully tonight.
But tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
By tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
By tomorrow.
This last page here, and then it goes into the seller's ability to make their response. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions about this nice, beautiful 10 pages? Everything's important. I could dive into this because you know I'm very nerdy about my real estate.
Send it. Send it.
Send it.
Okay, what was our price? You know, for the example of this, I did like $415.
That's what she's saying. That everything. Oh, she's loving it. She's like, go, do it, go. I'm like, what do you mean? And then she's like, yeah, exactly. Why not 500? She's like, I'm like, relax. Like, we have to find out what it's worth, and then we can kind of go from there, or you know what the CMA kind of is. But she's just like, yes. After we saw it, she's like, I'm like, what do you mean, yes? That's not the. We have to hold on. She's like, go, just do it. And then we got into like this big old thing because it's like we have to wait and find out. She's like, no, I want this house. I want it. And I'm like,
is that how it was? Was it just like that too with all the things?
Yeah, when we had our one-on-one, like I knew I loved that house. I knew I would raise my kids in that house. I knew it had that feeling of home.
And it's like, and I'm like, okay, I get it, me too. And then she's like, well, put it like, you know, just offer. I'm like, like you need
offer whatever you got to
exactly
do
anything. What are you pre-approved for? Offer that. And like, I mean, basicly no. But
I know what I like.
Really goes back into the importance.
And I don't like the word no.
So wait, so where are we? Yes. Where are we at, Andrew?
Andrew gets it.
So a quick pro tip here, whenever you're getting ready to make an offer, make sure that you review with your trusted real estate advisor the key time frames within your offer. Depending on where you live, the key time frames may be a little bit different, so this is why you want to review it with your trusted real estate advisor. Let me go ahead and identify 6 of the most common that are very typical in all real estate purchase agreements. The first one is your buyer due diligence period itself. Here in Las Vegas, Nevada, generally that could be 10 days to 14 days, and most cases in best practice, here with the families I represent, such as Adrian Nacole, I will write in a 12-day due diligence period. The second one is your inspection contingency. Within your buyer due diligence period, you need to be quick to order your home inspection, your pool inspection, and any other inspections that you wish to have performed. Now that said, there is an inspection contingency on that purchase agreement depending on how your contract was negotiated. When we're talking about an inspection contingency in specific, make sure that you completely know where in the time frame that contract that would expire so that you know to get out there, get those inspectors out there and get the inspections done to you that are most important. The third thing is going to be another state-by-state and property-specific basis. In this case, let's assume that you were purchasing a home within an HOA. An HOA is an acronym for Homeowners Association. They will have what's called a resale package. Most specifically in the resale package are the CC&Rs, which means covenants, codes, and restrictions. Now, here in the state of Nevada, when a buyer purchases a home within a homeowners association, or HOA, right, they have 5 days by Nevada state law to review all of the documents within their resale package and to take a look at their covenants, codes, and restrictions. If for some reason something's not a fit, they can rescind their contract, receive their earnest money deposit back, and move on to the next property. Now, best practice here when you're getting ready to purchase a home, specifically within an HOA, is to do what? Drive the community, see what's going on over there. If you notice that a lot of the neighbors have like immaculate yards, then it's probably a very strong HOA that's going to expect you to do the same. Now, if everybody in the community seems to have weeds, maybe weeds are a thing there. So you kind of got to gain perspective by what you see in addition to balancing it with the paper to what is in reality, right? It's very, very important to know if you have this time frame and this contingency within your contract. Again, in the state of Nevada, it's 5 days from the date of receipt. And the date of receipt, that word is the kicker. So as a listing agent, I will always ensure that we have the HOA documents ordered by the time we go on the market, if not already in hand, so I can give it to the buyer within their buyer due diligence period, because that 5-day clock does not start until the buyer receives those HOA docs. Check with your trusted real estate advisor about your state laws regarding HOA communities where you live. The fourth time frame is how much time does the lender have to send out an appraiser and get the appraisal report back? The fifth thing is the financing contingency. How long does the lender have to ensure they've received their appraisal, worked with you to get the needs list back from final underwriting, and clear the financing contingency within a contract? Again, here in Las Vegas, Nevada, pretty common practice with working with Bill Marion. We'll write 23 days into a purchase agreement, keeping in mind in the state of Nevada, we generally close homes in 30-35 days, if not faster. The sixth key time frame is your final walkthrough. When are you going to be performing your final walkthrough? Generally, I would like to perform in practice a final walkthrough anywhere from 1 day to 3 days in advance, just to make sure that everything is good to go. Those last few days of the closing process are very, very hectic for the home buyer, and we want to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row and ready to go. Okay, so that's the 6 main key timeframes that you want to monitor within your purchase agreement. Get with your trusted real estate advisor, identify what those dates are in your contract so you can keep track of where you are in the closing process. And then, as a pro tip here, go get with your loan officer and find out what those timelines look like with them, because there's a whole nother set of closing process steps to be done through your loan officer. So please make sure that you get everything right. Now let's get back to it.
It's a lot, and I love a lot of lot, and I feel like it's
You love a lot of
I love a lot of lot. And
hashtag right there. Just have to do that one. I love a lot. Save that. I feel my phone vibrating. Hello, this is Andrew Finney with King Realty. Oh, yeah, thank you so much for giving me a jingle back. I'm actually with the clients in my office right now. Had a few questions for you. Do you have a moment? Okay, cool. So one of the things is that I noticed that you guys have fallen out of escrow twice. Could you tell me a little bit about what happened there? She just told me that the seller had actually done some of the repairs from one of the escrows, and they're going to send us, if the seller agrees to our offer, they're going to go ahead and send us over the list of receipts and the home inspection too. So that's pretty cool.
all right.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. What was it, the appraisal then? Because obviously when you see escrow 1 die and then it goes into escrow 2, something's going on here, right? So the buyer was actually out of country and they were looking to buy and then didn't put the funds into the escrow account the day of closing. Ah, that's ouch. I really feel bad for the sellers in that case. So if you'd be so kind, would you let me know what it appraised for? You're listed at 425. I ran the comps. I got to be honest with you. I'm not seeing 425 here. Well, we were thinking maybe 415. Do you know what it would take to make the seller comfortable? Oh, okay, so they were good with the former appraised value then, right? Well, I got my clients right here, so we can make this really simple. What was that appraised value? So Adrian Nacole, she said that the appraised value came in at like 419. Are you okay? I mean, we wanted to offer 415, but the sellers want the 419. It's less than the 425, but I mean, what do you want to do?
Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm for it.
Okay, do you hear that?
It's VA money.
So it looks like we have ourselves a deal here. So what'll happen is I'll go ahead and get with them, and to make it easy, I'm going to send them a digital signature file. Once they sign it, I'm going to have it route right to you. Would you be so kind as to give the sellers the heads up and just confirm that that's okay with them? Yeah, it's a VA loan. Good question. No, not asking anything in buyer closing cost. Home warranty, of course. Well, of course, any other things that are VA non-allowable fees the seller need to pay for, like the escrow and yeah, you get it. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, the loan officers, Bill Marion with New American Funding, worked with them well over 100 times at this point over the last 6 years or so of doing real estate for the buying sides. Yeah. Yeah, 100% on time all the time, closings. Full income, asset, credit, and employment verification. Great question, by the way, thanks. Okay, so my question for you now is, can you call the seller and verify that before we put this in the writing and make this happen? Sure. Okay, thanks. So she's going to call me back, essentially, or text me the answer. So we just got the phone. So she's like, yeah, let me get it off. And then she's like, whoop, scurried about, right?
Nice.
So even though everything in Las Vegas, Nevada needs to be in written format, which is technically called an expressed format being written, right? We can have conversations and just see what happens, but nothing sticks until it sticks. And what makes it stick is the black and white and the writing and people's signatures like yours and the sellers, right?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Well, so put it in writing.
Now, I know that you mentioned before that you found me on YouTube. When I talk about like a pre-negotiation or filling out the selling side, what's going on there, that's what I'm talking about. And it just so happens to be that you were able to kind of hear some of that. And this agent, you know, I just did my own recon on her earlier, right? Find out who we could potentially be working with. She's another top agent in the city. I've never worked with her to this point, but she has solid reviews, and she is definitely a top performing agent. So I feel good about when she tells me something that she knows what's going on in the situation. And the good news was that even though the escrow had blown up twice, it wasn't because of the inspection, and it wasn't because of the appraisal. It was because the buyer didn't make their last moment wire to close. Why? I don't know. That sounds kind of crazy to me, but it is what it is, right?
Right.
But whatever. Okay.
All right.
Put on your thumb, right? Wait.
J-Tab.
J-Tab, just take a breath. Let's do it. Pow! Take a breath. Take a breath. Would you like a coffee, a water?
No.
You want something?
Thank you.
What would you like?
Hey, what?
Oh, here, water.
Is she asking for like a kind bar?
Look at your kind.
There she is.
Okay.
Okay, she actually texted me.
Give me some good news, Andrew. Don't make that face.
I'm
The
not.
listing agent
I'm
said.
not patient.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not. Right? No, yeah, I'm actually better than okay. Serious note, she said that the seller said that that's going to work. So what I'm going to do is
that's
I'm
what
going
I'm
to
talking
put everything that we just discussed into actually boom and send
Okay.
it to you on a digital signature program. The reason I would like to do it that way is so I could have it launched to her right from the signature program.
Right.
Very nice and quick and easy moving forward. Now we will need to be getting into what comes next. But for now, cherish this moment. Savor the taste of your favorite word.
The seller's
Yes!
not. The seller's not crazy.
Oh yeah, yes.
The seller's not crazy. The seller's not crazy. The seller's not crazy.
All right. Okay, so now tell me how you're feeling knowing that your offer just got accepted. We went over the offer process.
Yeah.
We got the offer
Great.
accepted. Well, we're pending final signatures, of course.
Right.
But it sounds promising that everything's going to go through without a problem. So how we feeling?
Great, 100%.
Excited.
Let's do it. Ready?
Yeah.
We're ready for steps 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to close of escrow.
Well, I've only mentioned like 17 of the devils in a contract.
Right.
I promise you there's a lot more. But yes, there's a lot of things to come. Right now, I would really like you just to focus on being happy.
Okay.
Go home, do your thing. And what's going to come next is we're going to get all this stuff squared away with documents. And then we're going to open the escrow. Okay? So why don't we get together? Maybe everything goes well. We get together like sometime in the next day. And we can go over the actual closing process, your buyer due diligence period, and what that entails. Is that okay?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay.
And that would, I mean,
Let this.
so once this becomes formally, like, I mean, in writing, the DocuSign and everything,
Right.
that would mean that I would immediately go and I should be ready to wire that earnest deposit,
within
correct?
2 business days.
Oh yeah, I could do that. I could do that tomorrow for sure. If we're signing
You're like, let me know. I'll do it tonight.
No, for real. Just let me know. I'll be there. I'll
You'll wake up the
I'll be
bank.
there. I'll wake up the bank. I'll wake up. I mean, I know where, I can find out where the bank manager's at.
Oh God.
It's 9 a.m. somewhere.
He's so
There's a bank open
extra.
somewhere. He's OTT. But that's natural. That's just him. That's why you married him, right?
Because
OTT.
he was funny.
OTT. Over
Not-
the top.
Are you down with OTT?
I'm down with OTT.
Yeah, you know me.
Right?
All right then.
So much fun, right?
Oh my God.
Okay. So why don't we get out of your hair, let you enjoy this moment for now.
Okay.
Uh,
Yay.
Do you have any other questions before we adjourn?
No, excited,
That's
ready,
super.
ready to get
Ready to
this
go.
officially in escrow.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm going to get started on this, launch it over to you. I'll shoot you a text when it's ready. As soon as you get it, agent's going, or as soon as you get it, please review it and sign it. It's the same thing that we just reviewed then. It's just adjusting the price, of course, from the $415 to $419.
Okay.
Everything else is the same. And we'll launch it over to the agent. And there we have it.
All right.
Alrighty.
Put us in, coach.
Push it. Put it in. I'm super excited.
Ladies?
What's gonna
Yes.
become your new family home.
Ladies. Andrew.
Thank you.
Again, thanks again. It's always really appreciate your help. We'll see you soon. All right. All right.
That was a super fun and exciting process with Adrian Nacole. You can just feel the excitement radiating off of them and all the fun that we're having in this process. Real estate does not have to be scary. Making an offer does not have to be difficult. At the end of the day, working with the right trusted real estate advisor that you feel comfortable and confident with does make all the difference. Knowing how to put those terms together, how to have those conversations on the other side, is all so that you can make a well-informed decision is what it's all about. The devil is in the details. At the same time, I am super proud and excited of the Hernandez family. And you see how pumped up they are right now? Well, I'm glad that they have it because the closing process is coming next. And we got a lot of things and difficult challenges to overcome. I know they're ready for it. See you next time. Adrian and Nacole, come on in.
Coming up next time, it's time for the escrow process to begin.
Well, what's the next step?
Escrow, right?
What's escrow?
Escrow is the closing process, correct? I know a thing or two about things.
And some lessons in buyer due diligence.
Wire fraud is real, and you work too hard for your money to let it go somewhere that it's not supposed to go.
Along with lots of great resources for you to use when making sure that perfect home has no issues.